Okay, let's get started. As you know, today's class is the Rovers Park workshop on how to start a business and how to invest. One of the things we're going to talk about today is understanding the different terms that they use in the stock market to have a clear understanding on how to invest. This is important because what we do know is that a lot of times poor people are poor people because they spend their money poorly. This generation here, our generation here, is going to be the first generation that leaves nothing for the next generation that's coming up behind us. Which means that that generation that's coming behind us is going to be just as bad or as worse. In every generation, besides this generation, Black people was able to leave something back because they started their own business or they invest or they did something to save money. We want to change that trend and start to make sure that we fill that wealth gap. Okay, let's get started. Now, as I said, this presentation right here is going to be this guy talking about different terms related to the stock market. We're going to move into learning about the stock market, learning about investment from people like Warren Buffett and those other major players that put money into stocks and bonds. We're going to learn about what they're thinking. But the first thing we're going to do is learn the terminology. And after we learn the terminology, then we're going to move to learning the concept, principles, and approaches to investment. That being said, let's get started.
Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're doing part 6 of the very popular series, Stock Market Terminology that every investor should know. I'm really enjoying sharing this series with you guys, and it seems like you guys are really enjoying it back. So, you know what? Let's just get into this. 10 more terms to find out today, and we are on part 6. Let's get into this. First term up today, we have public company. A public company is basically a corporation that you can buy shares in as an individual investor. So it's not like, well, I don't want to go to the second term, but a public company is basically when you can invest in it and you don't have to have known the owner, you don't have to know anybody in the company. They just trade on a stock market ticker symbol that's on the NYSE or the NASDAQ or some other platform, and you're just buying shares in that. So that's what a public company means, and it means that all the financial information, that all has to be public.
Keep in mind, all of the terminologies that he's talking about, we're going to learn it. Now, this is part 6. Okay. I could have started with part 1, but since we're into part 6, let's just learn these terminology. But next week, we're going to start with part 1 and work our way up to part 15.
Information, so they can't hide how much revenue they had last quarter. They can't hide how much profit they had last quarter, anything like that, or last year. That all is public information. How much the CEO makes and the CFO, that is all public information. They cannot legally hide that type of information. All that has to be out there to the public. Who's on the board of directors? That all has to be on the public. So a public company basically is basically what the name is. It's public. You can find out basically any amount of information you want on that company. There's a few secrets they're allowed to hold back, but the majority of things is all widely known, and it has to be known to the public. That's a public company. Next one up is a private company. A private company is the complete opposite of that. A private company is a company that they don't have to share anything publicly as far as how much CEOs make or CFOs or any of the executives. They don't have to disclose who's on the board of directors, if they even have a board of directors, how much revenue they make, anything like that. Because that can just be like a family-run company. I used to work for a huge corporation that brought in billions of dollars a year. But it was a private company. So we didn't have to disclose what that income was. We didn't have to disclose what the profit was last quarter. We didn't have to disclose how much the CEO was making. None of that stuff needed to be out there because it was family owned. It was owned by a family. So it doesn't matter if that was a huge corporation and 10, 20,000 employees were in the company. all that stuff can still be held privately when you're a private company. So there are definitely some advantages of private companies. I've done actually a video, I believe, in the past on public company versus private company and what's best for a big corporation, those kinds of things. I might have to go back and look. If I haven't, I might do something like that because there's definitely advantages to being a public company. There's definitely some advantages to being a private company. Next term up, term number 3 is quarterly earnings. Quarterly earnings is when a company has to report earnings at least 3 months, so 4 times a year. A quarterly earning is when they report whatever number they did for that previous 3 months. So generally, the quarters run like this. The first quarter is January, February, March. The next quarter is April, May, June. The next quarter, which is third quarter, is July, August, September. And the fourth quarter would be October, November, and December. That's generally how the quarter is running. Some companies run them like 1 month off, which is kind of strange. But anyways, in most companies, that is the quarterly process. They announce what their earnings were, so their revenue, what their net income was. They announce developments with the company, what happened with the company in that quarter. Did they get into some new markets, how successful are their product, and things like that. Market trends, they get into all that kind of stuff. And that runs into term number 4, which is a conference call. Generally, all public companies have a conference call, which is when analysts call in and ask questions after that company's report their numbers. So generally, a company will report their numbers. 30 minutes after that, they do the conference call. And that's when the CEO's on there, and sometimes the CFO, and sometimes a few other executives that are super high up ranking in the company will be on there to answer questions from the analyst community so investors can hear those questions and understand what exactly is going on with that company. So maybe going more in depth and try to get some more information that maybe they didn't call out in that earnings report and things like that. Maybe ask more questions on, okay, why did revenue slip this quarter, because this and that. So it's really an in-depth process. I love listening to conference calls. I highly suggest you guys start listening to conference calls if you have not begun yet, especially some of the bigger companies. I find them really interesting. Maybe I'm just a super big business stock market nerd, but I find conference calls so fun to listen to. You can learn more listening to some conference calls with some of these guys and gals than you can learn getting a business degree at school. I'm serious. They give out so many phenomenal tips that the way they talk and explain things, it just really opens up your mind if you're ever going to start a business. So I highly, highly recommend you guys just listen to conference calls, unless you think it's the most boring thing in the world. Some of my favorites are like Steve Wynn at Wynn Resorts. I love listening to him because he can just go off on tangents and things. And the way he explains business, I just really enjoy that. He's about my favorite. There's a lot of tech companies I like, Facebook, Apple. I love to hear all those big companies as well. That's what a conference call is. Next up is number 5, that's market cap. So market capitalization. That is how you basically calculate that. You take the share price, so however much the shares are trading, and you times that by however many shares are outstanding. So let's say the company has a share price of $2 and they have 2 shares outstanding. You take 2 times 2, that means they have a $4 market capitalization. Now, of course, public companies, most of them have hundreds of millions of shares outstanding, if not billions of shares outstanding. And of course, they have share prices that are generally way above $2, which is how they get huge market caps of, in the billions and billions of dollars. The next term up is EPS. What EPS stands for is earnings per share. How you figure out the earnings per share, or the EPS as it's known, is you basically take what the net income is. So let's say the company earned $2 in total net income. That was their net income, $2. And you basically divide that out by how many shares are outstanding. Let's say there was 1 share outstanding. 2 divided by 1, that means there was $2 in EPS. For every 1 share outstanding, they earned $2. Now, of course, bigger the company, the more complex these numbers are, because you got earnings of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, divided out by hundreds of millions or whatever, or billions of shares. So the numbers are much more complex, but it's basically the same thing. You divide out how much they did in net income, divided by how many shares they have outstanding. That is how you figure out EPS, and that's what EPS is, earnings per share. Next term up is a portfolio. A portfolio is however many stocks you hold and what stocks you hold in your portfolio, basically. So if somebody asks you, hey, what stocks do you have in your portfolio? That means what stocks do you hold? What stocks you invest in at that time? That's what a portfolio is. Next term up is margins. margin is when, and what we're talking about, we're not talking about gross margin or net margin or any of that kind of stuff. This is margin when you're investing in a brokerage account. So if you can create a margin account and have margin, which is when you invest money that's not even yours. You're basically taking out a loan to invest more capital because you think the stock is going to go up, or you're going to be betting that stock's going to go down big. So margin is whenever you want to invest money that's not yours. And generally you can do $2 for every $1 you have. Sometimes you can go a little bit higher than that if you're more diversified. So sometimes you can get all the way up to close to $3 for every $1 you actually have invested. But generally the term is $2 or, $2 total, and say you have $1, you can invest another $1 in margin. And the next term up would be a margin call. I've experienced this before when I messed around with margin. I went too heavy on margin. So if you go too heavy on margin and then a stock goes down in the short term, they basically will force you to either deposit more money in your.
Now keep in mind, we're going to learn all these terminologies. For example, he's talking about margin. Now, had we started with part 1 instead of looking at part 6, all these terms would have been known already, but inadvertently I hit part 6 instead of part 1. So let's continue. Also, remember that I'm going to be sending you a list of vocabulary words. It's going to be about 4 or 5 pages that also talks about the different terms that he's talking about.
Now, deposit more money, or you have to sell your shares within like 3 business days. So I've had to experience that before. Back when I was messing around with margin, it was a really bad decision. I was very short-sighted on my whole thinking, and I would have margin calls come in, and my brokerage would send me, hey, you need to deposit $5,000, $10,000 in your account by such and such date, or we're going to sell your shares automatically for you. So if you don't have that extra money to throw into your account, you get screwed, and you have to sell your shares, even if it's at a bad price. There's nothing you can do about it, because there's federal regulations that if you get to a certain amount that you don't have in your account, they have to sell. And then also they have their own house rules, and every brokerage is a little bit different. So some brokerages might let you go a little bit. Some might call you in right then and there and say, hey, they have the right technically when you sign up for a margin account to sell at any time. So always remember that. Doesn't mean they will, but they have that right. So keep that in mind if you ever do a margin account, which I do not recommend for anybody. I just do not recommend it. It's important you know it, though. The next one is the last term today is actually maxed out. It's not really so much a definition as a saying. Maxed out means when you have a margin account and you have everything invested, or if you just have a regular portfolio of stocks and you have every dollar you could possibly have invested. That means you're maxed out. Hey man, I'm maxed out. I got all my money in all my stocks, or all my money in this stock are maxed out in Apple or whatever stock. I don't have another dime to my name right now. I have it all riding on whatever stock or multiple stocks or short-term stocks, whatever it is. You have everything you possibly have in that stock. That's what it means to be maxed out. It's basically like in poker, when they go all in, they put all their chips on the table. In investing, you call that being maxed out. So thank you for watching this today, guys. 10 more terms. I'm enjoying this series. Next week, we'll do part 7. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, you may want to. I talk to someone about personal finance.
Okay, that's all we need to know about this. So what are we going to do related to this? You'll be getting this presentation. In fact, every class we do is recorded. So what's going to happen now, if you miss a class on how to start a business or investment, you can always get the recorded Zoom version. But our objective is to begin to move from having a mind of a consumer to having the mind of an investor. Our objective is to start to get people to think that instead of this dollar instead of me working for this dollar, I'm going to work for this. Instead of this dollar working for me, instead of I'm working for the dollar's going to work for me. That means if I got $1, how can I turn that dollar into $5, $10, $15? That's the thinking we want to instill in people. So again, this is going to be an intensive class on the art of understanding investment. We're going to have different experts, from Warren Bell to all those experts that's making millions of dollars. We're going to tap into those people, look at their YouTube videos, and begin to form a different way of looking life. So let's close this out so we can get ready for the next part of the class. Okay, why isn't this closing down? The next part of the class is going to be about the next part of the class is going to be about the starting your business. Now, if y'all recall, last week we talked about a business description. In that respect, when we talk about a business description, we talked about what are all the legal forms of a business. We talked about a sole proprietor, a partnership, a corporation. So we talk about all those different types of legal forms. What we're going to do now is because you had the packet, I hope you had that PowerPoint presentation packet. What we're going to do now is to look at a video that also talks about legal description. So give me a second so I can pull that up here. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions related to what we cover so far? No? Excellent. You know, I'm getting requests for this class from around the country. And the point is that all those people that are requesting this class are well-to-do already. I'm taking it to the hood and teaching the hood how to change their lifestyle. So that's important to me because we have a tendency to not and forget about the people that's living in the hood. You know, they call it the mud. So we're changing that. We're going directly in the mud and bringing people out. So give me a chance while I'm bringing up this presentation. I do want to talk about what the presentation is going to be about. It's going to be a follow-up to the last week's class on legal description. Hold on 1 second. I'll be bringing it up. There are some real conversations going on because a lot of people are seeing what's going on, and they actually want to come in and help in terms of resources for those people that want to start their own business and that's coming out of some type of public housing type of situation, be it Section 8, Rover's Park. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull up what I'm looking for. I think I can, yeah. Okay, now let me bring it up. This thing is really slow today. I apologize. I really apologize. But I think what y'all going to get from this information is going to be worth the wait. This is all about creating the mindset to not only start a business, operate the business, but make sure that you're successful at what you do. Give me 1 second while I pull this up. Again, I apologize for this setback, but I'm doing back-to-back classes. And it's been, hold on 1 second, please stop. Here we go. Okay, this presentation is going to be 30 minutes long, and it's going to give us still 5 minutes. I'm waiting for it to load up in my system. Okay, let me hit start. Keep in mind, y'all going to get a copy of this presentation.
The SBA Learning Center presents Legal Requirements for Small Business. Produced by the SBA's Office of Entrepreneurship.
Now, let me share this with you here. Hold on one second. Let's go to share. Okay, let me hit share. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Here we go. Here. Hit share. And then we're ready.
This self-paced course offers an overview of legal requirements for small businesses and how they can impact you. The subject matter is indexed for quick reference and easy access. It will take about 30 minutes to complete the course. Additional time may be needed to review included resource materials and to complete the next steps suggested at the end of the course. Audio is used throughout the training, so please adjust your speaker volume accordingly. A transcript and keyboard shortcuts are available to assist further with user accessibility. When you complete the course, you will have the option of receiving a course completion confirmation from the SBA.
Okay, keep going. So does everybody see this and does everybody hear it? Does everybody hear what this guy's talking about? The SBA, are y'all hearing it, what he's talking about?
I think you probably need to cut it down a little bit.
Okay, let me see if I can cut this down. I just want to make sure y'all seeing what I'm seeing on my screen. I'm cutting it down.
We got what you're saying. Yeah, if we wouldn't, I would have said something.
I know you would have. I don't know why. I was thinking about something different because I know how you are. You definitely would have made it clear. Okay, y'all, let's continue.
The course has 6 key objectives. 1, determine federal, state, and local requirements you may have to meet when you start a new business. 2, explain the requirements for hiring, paying, and firing employees. 3, identify federal, state, and local tax collection and reporting requirements for small businesses. 4, describe the importance of zoning ordinances, securities registration, and business permits and occupational professional licenses. 5, list environmental regulations that may impact your business. And 6, examine ways small business owners can manage legal risks. This course provides an introduction to legal requirements for small businesses. Some of the questions answered in this course are: what federal, state, and local requirements may you have to meet when you start a new business? What are the requirements for hiring, paying, and firing employees? What are the federal, state, and local tax collection and reporting requirements for small businesses? How important are zoning ordinances, securities registration, and business permits, and occupational professional licenses? What environmental regulations may impact your business? How can you manage legal risks? Let's get started. To run your business legally, there are certain federal and state licenses and permits you will need to obtain. There may also be county, city, or other local licenses and permits as well. With so many variables affecting your business choice, the best way is to start by using your favorite search engine to help gather the information you need. How you register your business will vary based on the business structure you have chosen. However, in general, you will need to check on federal, state, and local regulations that may impact your business. Select each item for some examples of federal, state, and local regulations.
So I'm going to send you this presentation, and you can always click on federal, state, and local related to this presentation. But we're going to do a separate class that talks about in Florida, what are all the documents you need for Florida.
DBA is a popular acronym that means doing business as. It is also sometimes called assumed name or fictitious name. It is the legal term used to describe when the trade name or fictitious business name used by a business is not the legal name of the actual owner, the individual responsible for it.
It is also used when a business is to be operated separately under a parent company or corporation. You would need to use a DBA if you do not want to incorporate or do business under your own name. You may also need to use a DBA name if your legal name is already in use by someone else and is unavailable. It is important to remember that a business with a fictitious name does not identify the person or entity legally responsible for its operation. Many states require that you register DBA or fictitious business names in order to protect consumers who do business with you.
Now, part of this class, and we're going to go over the fictitious name application for the state of Florida. So each of the items and forms that he's talking about, we're going to look at those forms in depth and work on completing those forms as part of the process of starting your own business.
The process to register your DBA name varies depending on the state or region you will be operating in. Typically, you will register your DBA with the local county or city clerk's office or with the business department of your state government. Andrew Lacona wants to start a new cell phone accessory business and has decided on the name Andy's Apps. He has researched the name and no one else in the state is using it or has it registered. He wants to use this as the legal name for his business instead of his own name. Select each of the folders to see what happens.
Again, you'll be getting a copy of this presentation, and at that time, you can click on the individual files that he's talking about.
It's time for a quick review. For the following questions, select all that apply and then click Submit. What are the reasons that you would want to register a doing business as DBA name? A, you do not want to incorporate using your name. B, your business name is your legal name. C, your legal name is unavailable. B, you do not want to do business under your name.
Okay, which do y'all think is right? Is it do not want to incorporate using your name? Your business name is your legal name. Your legal name is unavailable. Do not want to do business under the name. Again, the way he phrased the question is, what are the reasons that you would want to register your name as a DBA? Any?
You want your business name under the last one?
Okay, the last one, let's click this.
No.
No?
No.
Which one?
I don't know. Yeah.
This one?
I don't know which. Who else? I'm the only one on here?
No, you're not the only one on here. But what happened, we got somebody else looking in, but they had their mic cut off. But they looking and they making an observation. So let's say do not want to do your business name. Okay. Yeah, we got another guy, young guy in here. He wants to start a business. He wants to start a restaurant. And I'm really encouraging young people want to start their own business, especially when they're African-American males. So what he's doing is that he's listening in, but he's probably taking care of family. You know how that is, right? So that what that means is that he can always get a copy of this to look at later on. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, the job was incorrect.
There are several reasons you might want to register a doing business as DBA name. For example, you may not want to incorporate using your name. Your legal name is unavailable. Or you do not want to do business under your name.
Let's continue.
There are workplace laws and standards for businesses with employees. You will need to understand federal, state, and local requirements for hiring, paying, and firing employees.
Now, just to mention this, you will be getting certificates for each part of the course that you complete. So you'll be getting a certificate from the Center for Nonprofit Community Development. In addition to this, every time we take one of these online classes related to the FBA, you're also going to get a certificate from the FBA. Now, another thing we're using is SCORE. That school organization does the same thing as the SBA in terms of talking about different topics. So you will also get a certificate from the SBA. So when you finish this course, when you finish up on our workshop, you would have a certificate from the Center for Nonprofit, Community Development, SBA, and scores showing that you did take the course in terms of business. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
The first thing you need to do is determine what federal employment laws will apply to your business. The U.S. Department of Labor, DOL, provides a website called eLaws, First Step Employment Law Advisor. This site offers a short primer on employment laws, explanations of record keeping, notice, and reporting requirements, and links to printable resources such as posters and regulation summaries.
So it's going to be so important that you look at what are the federal labor laws related to employees in your business. And in addition to state, local, yes, you can. Go for it.
Go ahead, because it's about, so why when I look on my screen say recording? What nobody else screen do? Why do my screen say recording?
It is because every presentation is recorded. And the reason why I record it, say it again.
Oh, because the one at the bottom there is not recording.
No, you're not recording. I'm recording. That's letting you know that I'm recording the class.
Because mine was the only one recorded.
No, man, this whole presentation, and I'm gonna send you a link. It's going to show the whole presentation related to the class. It's not an individual, but it's the presentation that you're looking at on your screen.
I can't hear you.
So what I'm saying is that I'm recording the class itself.
What happened?
Hello?
Oh, okay. It said record. Okay, yeah. I got you.
Yeah, it's the whole class that's being recorded. So that anybody that wants to look at this particular segment can go online and they're going to see the whole presentation that we're going through now. Okay, good question, though. I'm glad you asked that question.
You should be familiar with these federal employment laws. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities in employment, transportation, public accommodation, communications, and governmental activities. The ADA also establishes requirements for telecommunications.
Okay, what was that again?
The Family and Medical Leave Act.
I'm sorry, did I miss it? What did you say? Hello, did you say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Let me continue on.
MLA entitles eligible employees of covered employers to take unpaid, job-protected leave for specified family and medical reasons, with continuation of group health insurance coverage under the same terms and conditions as if the employee had not taken leave.
You can't hear it?
Uniformed services.
I can't hear you.
Okay, let me see. Now, you can hear me, but you can't hear the presentation? Let me see if I can turn it up.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right. Do you hear it now?
Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, USERRA, protects service members' reemployment rights when returning from a period of service in the uniformed services, including those called up from the reserves or National Guard, and prohibits employer discrimination based on military service or obligation. The U.S. Department of Labor's DOL
You can't see me?
and Training Service, DETS.
Oh, let me see what's going on.
Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, USERRA.
You don't see the screen? Karen, do you see the screen?
I can't hear you. I hear you calling my name, but I don't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Well, I see what you got on the screen.
Okay. Well, I'm not understanding why it's not going through like it should be going. But either way, you're gonna get a copy of this.
Can you cut it up?
Okay.
Listed,
Yeah, cut it up.
business
But it doesn't.
business terms. The person
Is
that's
that
on
somebody
the
else?
is like doing the same thing.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see.
I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Okay, and I'm going to also
nothing.
send you. Okay, I'm also going to send you the presentation recorded also. So come back in, and hopefully you can hear the rest of the presentation. Either way,
Okay.
I'm going to send it to you, the recorded version. Okay. Okay, man.
You must get an Employment Identification Number, EIN, from the U.S. Internal Revenue Service before you hire your first employee. This is the number you will use to report taxes and other documents to the IRS and to state agencies. While not required by the federal government, some banks may require even sole proprietors to obtain an EIN for their business bank account, and some state and local authorities may require it for business licenses. You can apply for this number online, by phone, via fax, or mail. There is no payment to acquire an EIN. To apply for an EIN online, visit the IRS online EIN application site.
Okay, so what I just did was to mute everybody, because what was happening is that there was sound in the background and people couldn't hear what was going on in the class. So in order to remedy that situation, I muted everybody. Nevertheless, again, you can still go get a copy of this presentation by way of now I see somebody else is coming in the class. You can get an email of this presentation, the recorded version, for you to use to follow along with the class. So let me continue on.
Labor laws vary by state. You need to determine which local laws apply to your business. The U.S. Department of Labor provides a complete directory of individual state labor offices with contact and website information. Although local employee laws are usually modeled after federal and state laws, they sometimes extend certain rights and protection beyond what the federal and state laws require. Unlike some federal and state labor laws, local labor laws often apply to smaller employers as well. Make sure that you check with your city or county business office to find out what local legal requirements you need to be aware of. Knowledge review. It's time for a quick review. For the following question, select the correct answer and then click Submit. What is the number you will use to report taxes to the federal government? A. Social Security number. B. State license number. C. Employer identification number. D. Corporate registration number.
So the correct answer is
Employee
EIN number.
identification number.
Exactly. So let's hit this. Submit.
That is correct. The employer identification number is used to report taxes and other information to federal and state governments.
So
Your responsibilities for federal
pause this
taxes
for a second.
depend on the
You know what was going on earlier before you signed back in? There was
What
sound in the
happened?
background, so I had to mute everybody. So then what was happening, other people was making noise in the background. So what I did was to mute everybody so that, you know, the class could hear what's going on. So let's continue on.
Sales taxes are typically required by both state and local government for both products and services, labor. Click each tab to learn more.
Again, I'm going to send this presentation, and you can click the what, why, and how related to local and sales taxes. Now, in class, we're going to talk about the Pacific state and sales taxes related to Hillsborough County in the state of Florida.
Okay.
Business income taxes are collected by most states and depend on the legal structure of your business. In some cases, a limited liability company, LLC, is taxed separately from the owner, who will also file an individual income tax return. However, this is not always the case. LLC rules vary by state, so check with your accountant or legal advisor to discuss your options. If you are the sole proprietor for your business, you will use the same form to report your personal and business income taxes. You can find out specific business income tax information for your state by reading SBA's article, Determine Your State's Tax Obligations, on their website.
So we're going to be looking at the state of Florida website related to income tax, as well as the city of Tampa, Hillsborough County, so we can be able to look at the scheme related to we can look at the particulars related to income tax on the federal, state, and local level.
You need to check the location you plan to use for your business to make sure that the property is zoned correctly. You can find this out by contacting your local planning agency. The types of restrictions you are likely to encounter depend on if you are planning a home-based or separate brick-and-mortar business. Select each type for more information.
Okay, again, I'll be sending this to you, and then you can click on home-based versus a brick-and-mortar type of business. And in class, we're also going to talk about the different types as well.
Carla Hall wants to start a home-based mobile car repair service where she does minor repairs to vehicles at the owner's home or place of business. Because she depends on advertising and word of mouth, she plans to have her work van painted up as a rolling billboard. However, her neighborhood is zoned residential R1 and does not allow commercial vehicles to be parked on the street or front driveway. Also, one neighbor has objected to the possibility that she may be parking inoperable vehicles on her property. Select each folder to see what happened.
So I want you to look at this exomedia and click the different types, click the different folders that they have up here. What I want you to know is that we're going to go over zoning laws related to the local level, related to the community that you're in. So we're going to talk about that related to the state of Florida, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa, related to zoning laws.
Knowledge review. It's time for a quick review. For the following questions, select all that apply and then click Submit. You are planning to start a home-based small business in a residential community. Which of the following items may be restricted by local zoning ordinances? A, signage on your property. B, number of customers or employees. C, parking a commercial vehicle out front. D, setting up a home workspace.
So, anybody want to throw out what should be the correct answer?
The first one.
The first one. Let's hit that one and let's see what they say.
Because it wouldn't be the number of, let's talk about it, let's brainstorm it.
Okay,
Because
go ahead,
you would
brainstorm.
think that based on the resident, because they don't use because you don't really know how many customers you're going to have, really. You don't know how many customers, so you don't know the park. I don't know, I guess the home workplace. I don't know, I say one.
You had it right. The first one was right. Hold on.
Okay, all right, I just had to brainstorm it.
Okay, but that's good. I want you to think it through. I was wrong.
On your property, the number of customers or employees, and parking a commercial vehicle out front are items that may be restricted by local zoning ordinances.
It said the
So,
parking. Oh, let's go back.
Yeah, dang, man. Hold on. Oh, man, what am I doing with this? Let me go here. Why is this happening when I'm online, man?
Parking.
Hold on 1 second. Let me go back. Huh? Me either. I don't have the slides out there. But what we're going to do is again, go ahead.
No, because again, how you know how many people you're going to have? You might say, you might open up a big business and get a big parking space, but then you might not have that many people.
But I think, and I'm not sure, but we're going to talk about this in class. Let me tell you what my 2 cents is. They saying parking because they want to make sure that if you got a parking facility, you got enough space so the people that's coming into your facility are able to park on your property and not line up all over the street. I don't know if it's true, but what we're going to do, we're going to break it down in class. This is going to be one of our work groups. I'm going to throw that question out. I'm going to pose that question. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to come up with the solution, and then we're going to go to the law and see if the law agrees with us. Okay, let's continue on.
Anytime a small business offers or sells securities, even to just one person, the offer and sale must either be registered with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, or qualify for one of the registration exemptions provided under the Securities Act. Registration is usually necessary if you advertise for investors in any way. You can get more information on registering offerings by reading the SEC's A Guide for Small Businesses on Raising Capital and Complying with the Federal Securities Laws Guide. Note that public offerings are not recommended for new businesses because the time and cost involved, and they lack the prior performance needed to generate sales.
Okay, we're going to talk about that also when we get into corporations.
You will need to check for any special permits or licenses your business requires, including possible workplace inspection and approval by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. Select each tab to learn more.
Again, I'll be sending it to you, and you can click the appropriate file to follow up on what they're talking about. In addition to that, we're going to be talking about that in class as well.
If your business operation has any impact on the local environment, you will need to check with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and state environmental agencies. Many environmental regulations apply to small businesses, and the EPA and other agencies will work with you to explain specific requirements. Commonly required environmental permits involve the Clean Air Act, risks to endangered species, and use of wetlands. You can get specific information on environmental issues and regulations that may affect your business from the EPA by visiting their compliance website. Knowledge review. It's time for a quick review. For the following question, select the correct answer and then click Submit. Your new child daycare facility will be located in a commercial area just outside a large residential neighborhood. Which of the following should you check into? A. Professional license requirements. B. Hazardous waste and handling permit. C. Wetlands development permit. D. Securities registration.
Oh, man.
What do you think? Let's talk it through.
B.
Most child daycare facility will be located in the commercial area just outside a large resident neighborhood. Which of the following should be checked? Professional license, they should already have that.
Okay, you say no
Maybe.
to professional license?
I say B.
Uh-huh.
Now, somebody saying B. Okay, let's hold that. Hazardous waste and land and permit.
That might be one because with a daycare, you're gonna have like boo-boo diapers and all that kind of stuff, and so that might
That's
be
what
one.
I'm thinking the same thing. If you got a daycare, you don't want it next to a hazardous waste type of situation. But let's see. So we all agree. We think it's number 2. Let's see what they think.
That is not correct.
Ouch!
The only relevant option is the professional license requirements.
Ouch!
Why?
I don't know, man, but we'll talk about it later on.
Operation of your small business, both internal and external. While it is not possible to be prepared for all issues that could come up, you should analyze your business operation and take steps to minimize potential risks. Select each item for some examples of legal risks for small businesses.
Now, again, I want you, when you get this email, to click the appropriate box so you can get into that. But risk management is very important. I'm going to give an example of risk management. Risk management. Let's say, for example, you have an office, and somebody spilled water, and you know somebody spilled water, but you did nothing to wipe it up, and you did nothing to put something in front of it so people wouldn't walk across it. That's risk management. In risk management, you would actually mop it up, or you will put something there so somebody wouldn't walk over it. But that's one example of risk management.
We have looked at some of the main legal requirements you may need to understand and deal with as you start your small business, such as determining federal, state, and local requirements, explaining the requirements for hiring, paying, and firing employees, identifying tax collection and reporting requirements, understanding the importance of zoning ordinances, securities registration, business permits, and occupational or professional licenses. We also briefly described environmental regulations that may impact your business and examined ways small business owners can manage legal risks. Remember that this has just been an overview of requirements. Detailed information is available from the sites and sources identified within the lesson. You can also find a wide variety of information and help at the SBA website.
So, you're going to get this by way of email. Now, I want you to take all of the tests. This time you know all the answers. And the reason why I want you to take all of the tests, because at the end, they're going to print you out a certificate. So this time when you look at it, make sure we know all the right answers. Click all the right answers, and then you're going to get your certificate. Okay,
I ain't got
good.
no way to print out now.
Huh?
I ain't got no way to print out now. I don't have a printer.
Well, what can happen? You can save it as a PDF file, and if you save it as a PDF file, you can send it to your phone. And if it's on your phone, then you can always show people until the pandemic is over. When they open up the office, up at the office, then we can print it out then. But right now is, and what I'll probably do is go online with you so I can print it on my computer. And then we can have it, and then I'll make a copy, and then I'll get it to you, either by mailing to your address or some kind of other way. Because I do have access to a printer. And I want y'all to have what was that? Anyway, I want y'all to have all types of certificates and certifications. Now, this is part 1A of the lesson on starting your own business. We have about 10 or 11 more presentations. We're going to talk about marketing. We're going to talk about financial statements. We're going to talk about products and services. We're going to talk about all these individual components, and we talked about the business plan earlier, and we talked about the different components. So we're going to talk about each component separately. This component deals with legal requirements. Next week, we're going to start talking about the market. And we're going to talk about the market. First, we're going to do the regular presentation by way of PowerPoint. And then we're going to go online and look at what the SBA is saying about it and what the SCORE is saying about it. And again, making sure we get those certificates. Any questions related to the class, today's class? Good.
No.
So I want to thank, I want to thank everybody for coming to class today. Keep in mind, you're going to get the PowerPoint presentation that was made if you haven't gotten it. In addition, you're going to get this website right here so you can go in, take the test, and get your first certificate from the SBA. Why is that important? You got a certificate from the U.S. Small Business Administration, and that counts. Okay. I'm going to end this class, and I'm going to thank everybody for attending the class. Again, keep in mind, we're doing this class on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We're doing it on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and also Wednesday at 7 p.m. So Thank you for attending the class.
Michael. You know, what class I usually take? I usually play in the Wednesday class.
No, you usually do the Tuesday class.
I thought so.
But that's the beauty of it. If you miss a class, you can always jump in. You can always jump into a Wednesday class or a Wednesday night class. That's the beauty of being flexible.
This is my third class today. Boy, we had a class this morning with them with the credit trying to help you get your credit right. Then we had another class with Miss Treasure on depression. Now it's your class. So I done been in 3 Zoom classes today from Tampa House.
That's excellent, man. So you can see Tampa Housing Authority is really trying, by way of the Job Plus initiative, it's really trying to present all of those different resources and different classes that you can take. Be it business, learn how to invest, learning about relationships, you name it. Learn about computers. It's all kinds of services available for folks to take and connect into. So I'm going to end the day's class. I'm going to thank everybody, and I'll see y'all next week.
Okay.